How's it going, guys? So, today we're going to be installing something on this dude's machine. Basically, he's been endurance racing, and it's about an hour and a half long, and the ruts get pretty deep, and you can just see the inboard camera footage of his arms just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I've seen him drive over the ruts, and I think he needs a steering quickener. So reached out to Hess and got a Hess 2-to-1 steering quickener. It is a billet aluminum piece, like gear reduction. Your steering spline will go on here, and your steering will go on here, and then your adjustment shock for your height, your steering height, that'll go on there. It'll mount up here. It's a very nice piece. I have this on my 2-seater. This is also the steering shaft. It is adjustable. If I remember correctly, he said that on this machine I might have to cut this down 1/4 of an inch to make it go in further, but we'll see when we get there. So basically I'm going to kind of give you guys a rundown on how to install this. This is a 2014 800. It should be very similar to a 900, a 1000, a turbo. They're all very much the same. But if you guys are looking for a steering quickener, I would recommend, because my arms were super dead tired before I got mine, and it made a world of difference. Like from noon to 6 o'clock is full left, and from noon to 4 o'clock, or 5 o'clock is full right. And so basically there's very minimal moving. You know, this is the majority of your moving. So we're going to see how this does on his, and we're going to get started. We're going to gather what we need, and I'll show you that here in a second. Alright, so I already have a Hess steering wheel in this machine with a quick disconnect. So you're going to go ahead and pull your steering wheel. I've already got my nut loose, so you'll remove the nut that is... So if you have an OEM steering wheel, there's going to be a plastic cap on it. You can pull that off. You'll remove your nut, which is a 15/16 nut. Set that off to the side. Then I already got my quickener, or my quick disconnect, loosened up, so we'll just slide that off and get that out of our way. Then I guess the next step would probably be to remove the shock absorber here, or the adjustment shock. And let's see what size this is. This is a 4mm. You can take a 4mm and a 10mm wrench. Let me grab that real quick. Okay, I'm not going to pull this bolt out yet because I want to pull this bottom cover off. So you're going to need a T25 Torx and basically pull this cover off the power steering pump, or power steering unit. There's only 2 bolts holding that. 2 T25 Torx. You're going to have 1 bolt going through your steering shaft holding it on the power steering unit. Then you have a bolt here, an Allen bolt with a nut on the backside, and same thing over here. And basically when you pop this loose, this will fall down and all this will come out. So we're going to go ahead and work on getting all this stuff loosened up, and I'll tell you what you need here in a second. So 10mm socket, 10mm wrench will basically take and loosen up the bolt going through the steering shaft. Okay, that is loose there. We can pull that bolt There's that bolt. And now we can worry about these big ones. So this is a 6mm and a 14mm wrench. And basically we're gonna take and the wrench goes on the back side. There's a nut back there. That one's off. Whoops. Same thing there. So now everything's disconnected, so we can go ahead and pull this. This is going to drop, let it drop. Then we should be able to push this big old pin out and then push the other big old pin out. Okay. Now we should be able to slide this shaft off. And there is the steering column and shaft and everything all in one. So now we'll go ahead and gather what we need to start putting her back together. Alright guys, so I ended up lining up the shaft in there and realizing how much I needed to take off. So I just lined the two up next to each other and made a mark where they needed to be. And I cut this much off of this shaft and I cut this much off of this shaft. And now we should be good. Just got a little bit of paint on it, but there we go. Okay, so now we're going to grab the steering quickener and I'm going to show you how this goes in. Basically, this has got a set screw here and this clamps it down. So for now, I'm just going to slide this on here. We're going to come over here. And so basically, this is going to slide back on the power steering pump like that, or power steering unit. And with this model, you're going to have to reuse your old bolts. It's got plastic bushings in here, and the bolts are the right size. So the bolts that came with this are not going to cut it. Okay, so there's one, and here's two. You see how it's got the big collar? That's what goes in the plastic bushing. And my model doesn't have these screws up here, and I don't believe they're for anything for this model machine. So I'm going to take those out now before they're a problem. Okay, so I'm still running them in. Okay, then we've got the bolt that came out of the shock. Let's see if I can get this in here. Oh, that thread's right in now. So let's see. Wow, look at that. So on the original one, you needed a nut on the back side, and here's the nut. And basically the new one threads right in there. It's tapped. So that's cool. That's gonna be nice. Basically, that's max height right there. All right, so down here, I don't know if you can see it, but here's your steering shaft, and it's not quite bottomed out into that. We still have room to go up. You see that play? We got a little bit of room, and that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to separate these two. Ugh. Might have to get a screwdriver. But I'm going to make this one go all the way that way, and that one go all the way that way, and there's going to be then no play there. You could weld it if you want to, but to be honest, after the set screw's done up here and the bolts put in here and clamped down, this shaft's never going to come off or come loose or fall out, so it's really not that big of a deal. But let me go ahead and get that taken care of, and I'll show you that. Alright guys, so you see the gap here now. I basically push this up, push this down. Now I'm taking and locking the set screw in on one side, and it's already pretty tight. So that is a 4mm. Let me see if I can turn this to get to the other set screw. Oh, I went too far. Alright. Let's see. Wasn't paying attention. There we go. Same thing. Your 4mm will run this tight. Alright, that is locked tight. The only thing we need to do here is we need to tighten up this. We need to put a nut and a bolt through here. And then we need to put the factory nuts on the back side of this. And then basically put the steering wheel back on and see how it does. So let's start with tightening this down real quick. So we got that nice and tight. Let's see if we can get these OEM, here's the OEM nuts. We're gonna try to get those back in there. That's that. Now I can get this 10mm back in here and the nut. Well, other than putting the steering wheel on and checking it out, I think we're pretty much done here. So this is actually a newer style than mine. Mine is a version 2, so is this, but if I remember right, maybe mine had a nut on it. But I want to get the tires straight real quick. No, it returned it. Make the tires as straight as possible, and then I'll set the steering wheel. Okay, so the steering wheel is set straight. Turn that off. Get this adapter off here. Okay. Now we can take this bolt. So it's a 14mm. It's got a washer. I'm going to go ahead and get some thread lock and put a little bit of thread lock on here real quick. Alright, so I got some blue thread lock on here. We're going to go ahead and tighten this sucker down. Well, that is that. So, kick the key on. That's straight. Here's the center line. That's full turn. So mine's a little bit quicker than that, but this is an older rack and pinion. The older the machine, the slower the rack is what I've gathered, but it feels pretty good. My rack and pinion is a little squeaky. So go ahead and take her for a rip, but do multiple laps. Show them how much quicker it steers, okay?
Okay.
Alright guys, well you guys seen it. Take her for a rip. Hess Motorsports, that's the place. These tires are not normally on it. They're 30s on Pro XP wheels. Those are the tires and wheels that are normally on it, but I needed them to get into my toy hauler to make it narrow enough. So we swapped some tires around. What do you think, Connor?
I like them.
You like it? Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
And hopefully it's not too stiff, but he did fine driving it just now. It feels fine to me. It's going to be stiff with no power steering turned on, but the power steering in this unit is really good. So like I said, if you guys need anything from Hess, hit them up. They got all sorts of nice high quality pieces over there, and they'll get you taken care of.
Thanks, Hess Motorsports.
Man, right there. But basically, that's the end of this video. If you guys like what you see, hit up Hess Motorsports. They sent us some keychains, some nice stickers, and we already run a lot of their products. We have, let's see, we got a steering rack and pinion on a Honda Talon. I think we did a video on. We have their Hess tuner for that Honda. We have their stiffener plate. I have the steering quickener on my 21 Turbo RZR. We have this steering quickener on the 14 800S. Then we have the four-wheel drive override switch on the Honda Talon and on the 21 XP Turbo. So these guys make some super high quality parts. Glenn and I think his name's Sean Hess. They're very smart, very knowledgeable, and is willing to help anybody out. And any questions you might have asked, they can get them answered for sure. So I've called and picked their brains numerous times over the last year, and he spent 10, 15, 20 minutes on the phone with me explaining what I needed to know, and hopefully it gets him dialed in, and you can turn a little bit easier, huh?
Yeah.
So that was a big problem I noticed. I went one hot lap around with him and seen him fighting it, and then he did the whole race. We watched the camera, and he was just overworking his little arms. So hopefully this will make it a lot easier, but like I said, if you guys need any of that, check them out. They'll get you taken care of, and the easiest way to help support us is like, share, subscribe. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously you're watching us here on YouTube. But that's the end of this video, and we'll see you the next time. All right, Daniel, what are we doing?
We're out here somewhere in the boonies in Michigan. Gonna get this thing a nice custom wrap job. It's gonna be looking a lot different.
Yeah? Peeling all these stickers off?
Yep, all coming off.
Okay.
Brand new.
We already started on the way up here. Let us get this thing unloaded. We'll tell you where we're at and what we're doing.
Something real special coming.
All right.